My world has always moved fast. Competing, traveling, business. Naturally, when I do slow down, I like to hydrate fast.
Grace Coconut Water. Hydrate well.
There's so much that can be defined in a single moment. This is my defining moment.
How many of us can ever say that we were the fastest man on the planet? Here now the story, the defining moment of Donovan Bailey.
I think maybe my own personal moment was when I recognized that I belonged, which would probably be, it was a race I didn't win. It was a race in 1994 in Rome with the world record holder Carl Lewis, Leroy Burrell, with the probably 5 of the 10 most incredible sprinters that ever walked. And I looked for a split second, for 1/1000th of a second. They passed me, I finished 4th. They'll never beat me again. Ever, 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 ever. My dad came to Atlanta and essentially I had to prove to him that, hey, listen, I did make the right decision. It was one of those incredible son-father bonding moments that there's no words that really can explain.
Well, still to come live from Eugene, Oregon at the Prefontaine Classic, it'll be Michael Johnson against the field in the men's 200-meter run. And it'll be the final race for Johnson before the big showdown to answer the question, who is the world's fastest man? 1 week from today at SkyDome in Toronto, Canada, America's Michael Johnson and Canada's Donovan Bailey will meet on the track in a 150-meter match race to decide who really is the world's fastest man. Tradition says Bailey should wear the crown.
100 meters is the one that everyone looks at until I came along. As far as sprinting goes, you go from the 100 all the way up to the 400 as far as sprints, and I've held the 400 and 200 titles for the last 6 years.
Anywhere in the world, you know, people see him as Michael Johnson, the 200-meter runner, not the world's fastest man. Everywhere in the world, except for, you know, America, where he
enjoys much more than his 15 minutes of fame as America's newest sports hero. 2 gold medals go hand in hand with the breakfast of champions. But you can't eat cereal without milk, and MJ is about to be the newest poster boy for one of the hottest marketing campaigns around. But outside of the United States, Johnson is treated with far less reverence. Because of his domination of the competition and his sometimes cool persona, Johnson found himself cast in the role of the villain at a recent meet in Rio de Janeiro. Johnson was jeered lustily by the crowd, but was seemingly unfazed by his experience. Meanwhile, at the same meet, Donovan Bailey, competing in his specialty, played the role of underdog like a skilled politician. The Brazilians followed his every move, both off and on the track. And back home in Canada, Bailey is revered as the conquering hero who slayed the American sprinters at both the World Championships and Olympics, and who will do the same to Johnson next week.
And whereas this young man is deemed the fastest man.
Donovan Bailey, Michael Johnson, meeting halfway over 150 meters. Winner take all.
First of all, I'm not coming in here expecting to lose to anybody.
I'm the new star of track and field, and so I'm going to take that title.
The title of world's fastest man normally goes to the 100 meters, which Bailey won in record time at the Olympics. But when Johnson rewrote the record book in the 200 and 400 meters and then claimed he was the world's fastest man, Bailey took issue. Now the issue will be decided 1-1.
I fear no one, and when you step on the track, it's war.
I have nothing against Donovan personally, and I don't think he has anything against me personally, but, I mean, when you get on the track, anyone out there is a rival and they're an enemy, and that's the way it is.
But consider what was, and Bailey has more to lose. Canadians were crushed when steroids canceled Ben Johnson's claim as world's fastest man, and would be again were Bailey to lose that label this time around. But Bailey claims he's got to race for the good of the sport.
Would have continued training and running even without this race. But I mean, again, I think that with the generated publicity of this race right now, then it definitely would help my teammates. I mean, I think that's very important for me as I displayed in the relay and so forth in Atlanta.
But Bailey's personal payoff is enormous, whether he wins or not. $500,000 for just showing up. and another $1 million if he wins. So this is much more than who runs faster. It's about fast money, about bragging rights, and about the
inspiration for me to run a couple of twos this year, and I plan on meeting him in his event.
You came out of the turn, you took the lead, you were leaving him 2/3 of the way through the race when he pulled up. Are you disappointed he pulled up, that he didn't finish?
He didn't pull up, he's a chicken. He didn't pull up at all, he's just a chicken, he's afraid to lose. I think what he should do is we should run this race over again so he can kick his ass one more time.
Donovan, you said you ran under duress. How tough was it going into this race considering the configuration?
Well, you know what, the bottom line was I had to concentrate on what it is I was given. I think that I support events like this happening. I just think that organizers should have some knowledge of track and field and respect us as athletes.
Olympic champion and still the world's fastest man.
Yes, I am.
Congratulations. Let's go back to Brian.
Mark Lee, once again, a very classy young man, brings a nation to its feet. Donovan Bailey defeats Michael Johnson. I'll tell you what, I was proud in Atlanta, and I'm sure I speak for Canadians this afternoon from coast to coast. There is great pride here in this building. A tremendous performance by Donovan Bailey as Michael Johnson pulls up. Bailey was ahead when Johnson pulled up. You heard Bailey say, and I'm quoting, he was chicken, he was not hurt. We have a lot more to come. Mark Lee is down on the floor, and we'll talk to Michael Johnson when we return live to Toronto right after this.
As I was coming around the curve, it felt like a cramp. It grabbed and then it let go. I tried to keep running and then I felt it again, and it was a little more intense that time.
And after so much time spent hyping the race and harping on who is the faster man, the question.
Were you genuinely injured or did you throw the race?
Next question.
Every step of this race has been taken with bravado, but after it was over, Bailey took it one step too far.
He didn't pull up, he's a chicken. He didn't pull up at all, he's just a chicken, he's afraid to lose. I think what he should do is we should run this race over again so he can kick his ass one more time.
It was a comment made before millions watching on TV, but one even later at the post-race press conference he did not regret making.
Well, he's called me a lot of things, so no, I don't regret it.
That shows a lot about what kind of person he is. I'm going to show you the kind of person I am. I'm not going to address that.
Yet as both addressed what happened, the dislike for one another was obvious, and Bailey, for one, refused to hold back.
Who's the fastest man in the world?
Well, you know what? I've always said that this race was never going to prove who the fastest man in the world is. All it was going to do is to shut Michael Johnson up.
On leading Johnson out of the turn.
I've never ran a corner with Michael Johnson. I mean, and it's very obvious that if I'm within striking distance of him that early in the race and I'm blowing by him, that the gap's just going to get bigger and bigger and my butt's just going to get smaller and smaller as I pull away from him.
On whether Johnson felt he was going to get beat.
I don't think Michael felt that he was going to get beat. He knew he was going to get hammered after the first 30 meters. So, I mean, he had to pull out.
So hopefully, I mean, it gets better from here.
Now, he's the one to beat at the Olympics. He's the one with the fancy car and the hefty appearance fees and the endorsements. But in this game, only a few hundredths of a second can separate first from dead last.
I'm late, man. Saturday morning.
You can't afford to revel too long in how wonderful you are. This close to the Olympics, every day is an intense study session for Bailey at the University of Texas campus in Austin, where football is king. The football coach has decreed a new playing surface at the stadium. And what he says goes.
Rodriguez!
So the lowly, short-distance runners must tune up amid noise and filth if they want to train under acclaimed Texas track coach Dan Paff.
One last shot of juice. Okay.
For a guy who until a few years ago traveled the fast lane off the track, not on it, he's become absolutely obsessive about his event, and understandably.
Thighs up.
A top sprinter can earn $500,000 a year if he stays up to speed. And such attention he gets.
You know we got NBC next week.
And CNN.
Oh, I didn't know CNN. I knew Swiss TV, but I didn't know CNN.
Making nice with the media. It's part of the job description.
Stretch out a little so I can see the
When the magazine Sports Illustrated comes calling, for example, you do their bidding when your prime sponsor is a sports shoe maker. But his main business is staying fast, because if he doesn't, the jock press will soon find another darling. Can't have that.
Hold it. Okay, take a break. You show up and there's a camera someplace taking pictures of you. So then again, you just go about doing what you're doing. You can't really think about that stuff because it definitely, again, you have to be so self-centered sometimes, really. You have to block out everything that's going on around you in order to get to where you're trying to get to. Because if I sit and I get absorbed in everything, then, you know, you guys are never going to show up again. And I don't want that to happen.
Track fame can be ephemeral. Gilbert is philosophical.
You know, you can't help but to feel maybe a little envious, because you think that this is exactly what you're working towards. And when you see it doesn't happen, but it happens for someone who at one point, like you said, you were beating before, and now all of a sudden they went from here right up to the top. I mean, of course you feel a little envious, but I mean, I deal with that. I mean, that's just the way life is. That's just the way things happen.
The Canadians training under Path get together for their regular Friday night dominoes game. It's all they can afford to do. If you're not number one, just a fraction of a second off, you have to scratch to pay your bills. Though the regal Bailey will often make an appearance to schmooze with the gang.
We can't roll like this guy.
The genial prince among the plebs, who like to heckle him good-naturedly about how tough it is down where they are.
Atlanta, Friday, July the 19th, 1996. And the countdown is over. The Centenary Olympic Games begin with an opening ceremony attended by 83,000 people in the stadium, with millions witnessing on television around the world. The show begins with the entertainers.
to present the athletes of the games of the 26th Olympiad.
After an hour and a half of cavalcade, it's time for the Olympic actors, the competitors, to take over. There are 10,361 of them, representing a record 197 countries. According to custom, Greece enters the arena first, beginning an hour and a half march past. 40 minutes before midnight, the final team, the host USA, enters the stadium. Applauded by the President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary. A grand finale which gives the home crowd the opportunity to give their team a rousing greeting. Just before 20 minutes to midnight, IOC President Samaranch observes the protocol of the Olympic speech of welcome.
Inviting the President of the United States to proclaim open the games of the 26th Olympiad, the Centennial Games.
I declare open the Games of Atlanta, celebrating the 26th Olympiad of the modern era.
The Olympic flame arrived in Los Angeles on April the 27th and has toured the entire United States, arriving in the stadium, having completed its final leg, passing in front of the birthplace of Martin Luther King, the assassinated Nobel Peace Prize winner who was born in Atlanta. The final bearer of the flame is Muhammad Ali, Olympic gold medal winner in Rome 1960 as Cassius Clay. But his nomination is not universally acclaimed, suffering as he does from Parkinson's disease due to his chosen sport, boxing.
Glory of sport, or the honor of our teams.
So the games begin in joy. But they will be marked by organizational controversies and a murderous attack. Yet the level of sporting achievement will be absolutely unprecedented.
Frankie Fredericks just strolling back to the blocks. Been training with Linford Christie all winter in Australia. Actually came to see Linford qualify in the 3A Championships this year. They're very good friends, and they've been training together in Tallahassee with Merle Nottie, who's just got a medal in the women's 100-meter final. Frankie is now 28. He goes in lane 6, or lane 5 rather. Next to him in lane 6, the world champion from Canada, Donovan Bailey. Bailey, powerful, not as tall as Christie, who I think is about the tallest man in the field.
Representing the USA.
So Bailey, the world champion, goes in lane number 6. In lane 7, next to him in the all green of Nigeria, Davidson Azinwo, one of the twins. He won the African Championship at 200 meters in 1988 at the age of 60, now 24. Always been promising, but now we're seeing his real talent. On paper, Bolden and Fredericks are the two favorites, but Christie is a big race runner. With all his experience, he's not going to be overawed by this one. Dennis Mitchell. Never still before a race. talks to himself all the time. Bolden.
Owner of an Olympic relay gold medal representing the United States of America.
To a lot of athletes, this could be distracting, but Linford Christie said, well, Dennis Mitchell has never really bothered me. I don't even notice him. Frankie Fredericks, the world #1. Drawn alongside the world champion from Canada, Donovan Bailey. From Nigeria. Always been promising. And this Olympic Games, or these Olympic Games, he's delivered.
The 1994 Commonwealth Games silver medalist
Michael Green, the Jamaican, beat Christie in London a few weeks ago. 4 times the Jamaican champion.
Michael Green.
Michael Marsh in lane 1, the Olympic 200-meter champion. Those two train together. Good friends, and they live in the same house here in Atlanta. Fredericks and Christie, of course, very close friends, but not for the next few seconds. Christie, for Christie, the rest don't exist. Can Linford Christie, the defending champion, he's got the world champion Donovan Bailey to contend with, but he is, of course, the reigning champion. The 100 meters Olympic final. Well, no wonder. I'm not sure Christie wasn't responsible. It's very rare he gets a false start. Very rare indeed. I think he's accepted that. We'll see where the marksman goes. This time they go. Bolden got a good one. Christie not so good away. And his recall. Donovan Bailey. Well, that was a late recall. Azima. Bolden got a very good start. Was it too good? We'll see where the marksman goes this time. Fredericks, usually expressionless. Bolden shaking his head. It's lane 3, I think. The orange, yep. Just beat the gun. Suppose you could say it was nearly a brilliant start. Christie organizes his mind again. Bolden in the next lane is such a good starter, he's liable to put Linford under real pressure right from the start. But now with a false start, he might tend to dwell in the blocks. Again, standing tall. Linford Christie is the last to settle. The Olympic 100-meter final. And the third time they go, and Christie got quite a good one. Oh. Well, is it Christie or Bolden? Who is it? Linford seemed to me to get a good start. Again, the question is, was it too good? If it's Christie or Bolden, they go out. And I've got a feeling that they're looking at Christie. The defending champion looks like being thrown out for 2 false starts. Yes. Well, he's come here to defend his title with dignity. He's been thrown out of the final for 2 false starts. It looked like a good start to me, and what a finish to Christie's major international career. He's battled his way into this final. And this is worse than being beaten in the actual race, not being able to defend the title at all. A bleep on the headphone. And I think Christie's insisted that it's checked. Well, he's been around long enough to know his rights. But a tremendous strain on everyone. Edwards now in the triple jump. His last jump.
Incredible drama for Jonathan Edwards. Come on, it's got to be long. It has to be long. But the rules are the rules, and it doesn't matter how long it is. Jonathan Edwards. Gold rush here in Atlanta is over.
Well, Linford Christie has been asked to leave the arena.
Ready, not nice. Dress cartel. Dancer.
Can't believe it. He simply doesn't believe it. So now, the man who's put together such a great international record is forced to be a spectator. Well, this has been a real test for everyone. The lineup is Marsh, the Olympic 200-meter champion in the morning. Christie now gone in 2. Bolden, the former world junior champion in 2003. Mitchell in 4. Fredericks in 5. Bailey in 6. Zemos in 3 and 8. Once again, they settle for the Olympic final. This time they get away. Bolden got away well. Also going well alongside him is Dennis Mitchell. And it's Bolden! And Bolden can throw on Bailey! Bailey wins it. Bolden second. Fredericks third. Tremendous run by the man from Canada, who's put now, alongside his world title, the Olympic title. It's taken from Linford Christie, who comes out now to tremendous applause from the crowd. Atto Bolden looked like being second there, and Frankie Fredericks third. Christie now saying farewell to the crowd. He's defended this Olympic title with dignity. And he didn't get the chance to actually compete. That's his great friend who he's trained with, Frankie Fredericks. I don't think Linford, possibly watching from the starter's end of the track, probably knows what happened. What a sad finale. But what a moment for Donovan Bailey, world champion and now Olympic champion. Gail Davis sympathises, and Christie walks away.
Thanks, Brian. A magical evening, obviously, for Team Canada. Andy McGuinness, head coach of the track and field team, and Molly Killenbeck in charge of the sprinters here in Atlanta. Andy, give us your analysis of that magnificent world record and gold medal run.
Nothing but control from the gun to the finish. He's a gatherer, and he just gathered in the field and took it away.
Molly, what were you feeling? I know you said you were more nervous than excited going into this event.
Well, I know this is probably going to be this was the best field of 100-meter sprinters that we've seen, well, in my lifetime anyway, and I knew whoever came out on top would have to run a darn good race, and Donovan certainly did that. I thought he got out a bit slow, but he certainly came back and put it together, and the result was a world record, and we're pretty excited about that.
What did you think about the false starts? Never seen a start like this either, never mind the field.
The false start, I think it probably ruffled a couple of people in the field. Obviously, it didn't affect Donovan at all, and probably helped him to get settled in because one of the false start he didn't get off that great. So I think probably helped him in the long run.
How about Addo Bolden, Andy, having one under his belt?
One under his belt. Well, a little inhibition, but Addo's such a strong runner. He still controlled the race for the first 70 meters. I don't think it hurt Addo. What hurt Addo was being out in front.
And not knowing that Donovan's coming, or just spending a bit of his energy?
No, I just think an Olympic final and being out in front and smelling that finish line, and just nothing comes fast enough at that point.
That's a good one. Frankie Fredericks was blistering all year and threw the 9.93 on the board yesterday. Were you surprised about him? I mean, this is a 9.84 that beat all this field, so nobody should be disappointed. But what about Fredericks?
Fredericks ran a great race, but all week Frank hasn't been able to crack a smile. He's just been Mr. Serious, and that's not Frank's style. I just don't understand why all of a sudden he had to become somebody that he wasn't. And I think it showed a bit in that final as he tried to gather in Addo. He hit the wall at about 70 meters, tried to relax because he is an experienced sprinter, and he came back relaxed and got Addo in the end, but nothing can stop Donovan once he's got that scent of blood.
Did you think Donovan was himself through the last 48 hours? You mentioned that all the traffic snarls and whatnot might have had him in a bit of different state of mind yesterday.
No, yesterday was panic mode, little dings and dangs, and things got fixed up. We got a little behind the 8-ball on the warm-up patterns and the protocol in the marshalling area, but today they're early, everything figured out, nice smooth trip in, and away we go.
How does Dan Paff prepare Donovan for a meet like this? What kind of tapering would he have done and training in the last 2-3 weeks?
Well, the last 2 or 3 weeks have focused primarily on his start, acceleration, mental focus and imagery, trying to feel the right pressure points when he hits his set position before the gun. And his speed has been qualitative, 110, 120 meters in his speed endurance.
Where would you rank Donovan Bailey in terms of the greatest sprinters of all time?
I'd say Donovan speaks for himself, world record.
Yeah, Molly, same question. Have you ever had a chance to witness the thing that gets me about him is he just seems so natural, but give us sort of an overall view of Donovan Bailey and what's made him such a spectacular winner.
I think Donovan is a latecomer in our sport, and he has a good experience from being a businessman, and he's out here to win. He knows what it takes, and he did exactly that today, and he came out on top. He's a world record holder, and he's the #1 sprinter in the world.
And the anchor of the relay team, Molly, so you can smile even more. Good luck with that.
I'll save that for the big one.
Yeah. Molly Killingbeck and Andy McGuinness, our thanks.
Die 100 Meter in Atlanta, 9,84 Weltrekord. Es war der Wahnsinn. Ich habe nicht an den Weltrekord gedacht. Immer wenn ich an eine Zeit denke, geht's schief. Immer. Ich dachte einfach bloß, geh in die Blöcke ganz ruhig. Mein Trainer hatte mir noch gesagt, ich soll vernünftig rauskommen aus den Blöcken und dann bei 70 Metern einfach entspannen.
Esme was absolutely wonderful. He did everything right. He was psyched up. He kept Drummond at bay, and Drummond knew it. I think Drummond started seizing up about here. Esme says hand. There's the hand. What a great change there. Absolutely fantastic. Glenroy Gilbert blitzed that back straight the same way that they did in the women's when the Americans won it. And now you can see the bend here really. Surin was away then. It was won by this stage. The hand goes back, no troubles this time. And he took it 2 yards up and gained another 4. Double goal for Canada in the sprints in the 1 and the 4x4.
Nigeria in front, but Donovan Bailey is flying, and Canada wins.
Last year, and now it happens. Great start by Esme. He's separated from the field on the first leg. They got good handoffs, which is what you need here. They didn't just get clean. You see full extension there. The incoming runner did not have to come in and slow down. But this exchange coming up, the second exchange, was not the best exchange that they've had. They missed it, but as you see there, there's still enough room at the end of the zone to make the exchange, which the U.S. did not have yesterday.
And now Bailey. At this point, it looks like Nigeria has the lead. But watch Donovan Bailey overhaul the other runners down the stretch. This is impressive.
Surin says he's benefited this season from training with the Olympic champion Donovan Bailey. Now, Bailey is making a comeback after tearing his Achilles tendon in a basketball training accident last September. And in the meantime, he's taken Surin under his wing.
I want him to reap some of the benefits I have as Olympic champion or world champion. So I just want him to realize his potential and just run and be totally at ease. I mean, and love track and field over the next few years, and then when we retire, the memories we definitely can share. You know, he was there, I was there. I mean, we're all there.
So the stage is set for the men's 100-meter final. How fast will Bruni Surin be today here in Winnipeg? And does Donovan Bailey have a qualifying time in him so soon in his comeback? Let's go to Don and Jeff.
Okay, Mark, and Bruni Surin has never really received the recognition due him. He has operated in the shadow of Donovan Bailey, the former world record holder and Olympic champion, and he also had to escape the ghost of Ben Johnson. But over the last couple of years, Bruni Surin has really been the best Canadian sprinter on the international scene. He had a 9.89 clocking at last year's Canadian Championships in Montreal, and this year he was third behind the world record run of Maurice Green of the United States in Athens. So he clearly, in lane 6, comes into this final as the favorite. Donovan Bailey had to survive wait to determine whether or not he would be in this final, but he is running in lane 2. We saw Patrick Grant running in lane 1. Donovan Bailey at 10.38 clocking in qualifying for this final, on the comeback trail and looking to improve upon that mark. Everyone anxious to see how well he will run in this final. Eric Frempong runs in lane 3 in this 100-meter final, a personal best of 10.32. Glenroy Gilbert, a former Canadian 100-meter champion and the key member of the Canadian gold medal winning relay team. Glenroy Gilbert, Bruni Surin, Donovan Bailey won the gold medal. Brad McQuaig runs in lane 5. He is coming off a strong win in his heat to qualify for this final. And there's 31-year-old Bruni Surin, born in Haiti, lives in Montreal, twice a world indoor champion. And he twice this year has been under 10 seconds. A 9.89 clocking at the Canadian Championships a year ago. He won a bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games in Auckland in 1990. 93 and 95, as mentioned, the world indoor champion. Russell Brooks is running in lane 7, a PB of 10.38. And completing the field in lane 8 is Trevino Betty from London, Ontario, a 10.25 personal best. He was the athlete of the year in 1995 at the University of Western Ontario. Bruni Surin and Donovan Bailey.
Yes, those are the two main stories. Can Surin win, which is very likely? Can he win by running a fast time, which is anticipated? And can Donovan Bailey do well enough to qualify for the games? So there is a third story, of course, and that is if these runners are close together, as is likely, then we will have an outstanding prospect for a relay team. We already are one of the very best relay teams in the world. The closer these men can be to whoever wins, the greater the prospects for the 4x100 meters relay.
The crowd in anticipation of seeing an outstanding sprint featuring former world champion Donovan Bailey and last year's Canadian champion Bruni Surin. Bailey in 2, Surin in 6. Surin comes out of the blocks. Bailey gets a good start, but Surin has control of the race. Brad McQuaig trying to stay up there with him. It's a battle for second as Surin is going to win. And look at the time. 9:88. A win date is clocking for Bruni Surin. The battle for second between Brad McQuaig and Donovan Bailey. And Bailey points to the clock and says to Surin, look at the time.
Very close finish between Brad McQuaig and Donovan for second and third. A cluster of athletes within 2 meters, which bodes very well for the 4x100 meter relay team. But above all else, 9.88, third time under 10 seconds, and great sprinting by Bruni Surin.
Yeah, I'm still just trying to, I'm still just trying to get back, trying to like go through the transition. That's still a very bad race for me. But
take a look at your race from start to finish.
Yeah, well, my first 30 is okay, but I'm seeing my transition is still not the way it's supposed to be, because my middle 40, that's the best part of my race. I'm not lifting properly. There's a lot of problems right now. I'm still very stiff. I'm like forcing to run. So it's something that I'm going to have to work through and continue working through, and it'll be good this year. I'll be joining Bruni in the fly races.
Might we see you race in Seville?
I'm going to take it race by race. I believe that things are going well for me now, and I'll continue training and running as much as possible. Hopefully Bruni will come back down to Austin, and we'll probably do a little preparation for Worlds and Pan Am Games. So I think that things are going well, and I'm not ruling anything out right now. What I want to do is just get back to being normal.
Dan, could you give us an update on Donovan Bailey's condition?
Well, it's minute to minute. Our therapists are working right now. We're in the middle of a warm-up process, and we're just taking it one run at a time, and probably won't make a decision until he comes out of the tunnel.
If you were going to say the chances of running tonight, are they good, fair, not so good?
That decision rests solely with Donovan.
Next, we move to the men's 100-meter semifinals. Donovan Bailey, will he be right? Will he be able to go, the reigning world and Olympic champion? He's going to decide as soon as he comes out onto the track. And what about Otto Bolden? He's already predicted that there will be a new world record holder. He thinks someone will break Donovan Bailey's record here in Athens. All that coming up next. Well, Otto Bolden is the man that all eyes have been on since he arrived in this country. He noted only recently that his performances have caught up with his ego, and if confidence is a prerequisite for success in the sprints, Otto is well positioned.
I think one of my biggest confidences coming in here is that 989. The reality is the rest of the world has not caught my opener yet.
They might not catch Otto Bolden because his confidence level is in high gear. A verbal assurance that gold is in his future and his past is just that.
Last year, those guys were basically racing against a collegiate athlete. This year, I'm a lot more focused, and I've had time to prepare all year for this meet.
His preparation has been tireless, producing performances that merit consideration among track's elite.
They have to respect me because of the times that I have been able to produce. I've been one of the world's most consistent over the past 3 years.
We both feel that sprints is an area where the world's fastest human will always be recognized. And he likes that title.
His quest continued at the World Indoors in Paris. He had proclaimed earlier he was the one to catch. The only thing he caught, though, was a bad break. A back spasm sent him tumbling. Would he be able to pick up his spirit before his next challenge here in Athens?
I'm coming into these championships as the world's fastest human. And there's a lot of pressure to leave it as the world's fastest human. And that means I have to go through 8 rounds of running and emerge having won both, which is, quite a task. So the pressure is even more so than indoors because everybody's here. And this is what counts, outdoors.
Otto was bronze medalist in Atlanta, both the 100 and 200 last year. Sometime or other, though, you got to back up the talk with performance, and he came pretty close. A 9.87, the fastest ever in a qualifying round in his quarterfinal race here in Athens.
And Otto's been talking world record the entire summer. We've got pretty still air here, Tom. I think he's going to need a little bit of a tailwind if he wants to do something like that. But he had one of the greatest sprint doubles ever. In fact, the greatest 100 and 200 sprint double just 3 weeks ago today. 990 he ran in the 100 and 1977 in the 200, the second fastest performer of all time. So he's clearly in shape to run here.
Otto ran his collegiate track at UCLA, and in the very next lane is another former Bruin, Mike Marsh.
Marsh, who turns 30 years old tomorrow, probably the least ego-driven sprinter that I've ever met. 1992 Olympic champion in the 200 meters, but has always felt that he's a 100-meter sprinter who happens to also be good at 200 meters. If they were to hold the Olympic Games 100 meters at Mount Sac, you could not beat this man, as he always runs a fast time in April out at Mount San Antonio College in California.
You may remember the story on Marsh during the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles. He parked cars at the Long Beach venue where they held the fencing and volleyball competition. So quite a story. Went on to win an Olympic gold medal in Barcelona. Lane assignments. Bruni Surin of Canada, dangerous in lane 3. He finished second to his teammate Donovan Bailey at the '95 World Championships. Otto Bolden in 4, Mike Marsh in lane 5. And Michael Johnson has joined us now. You gave us a bit of a sweat, but you did make it to the next round of the 400, cutting it a little close. But let's get your expertise now on the men's 100 semifinal. Michael is here with us. I hope you had a chance to shower, since I'm sitting right next to you. We'll talk about your 400 a little later, but let's, as we get to the start of the 100-meter semifinal here, get your view on Mike Marsh, Otto Bolden especially.
Well, I think that Otto's definitely looking good, and he's confident. He's running the rounds very confident. I think there's even a possibility we may see a world record in the semifinal. Otto's just confident. He's running real smooth right now. Everything's just clicking for him, and when everything's clicking that way, you know, you just get out there and everything is on automatic. There's not a lot of work to be done.
You know, when you become a broadcaster, you get ribbed every now and then. You were faster to the booth than you were in your heat.
Well, you know, quarterfinals, and, you know, I didn't see that guy coming up. But, you know, and that's a mistake on my part. But I felt good. Everything feels good. So tomorrow, I'm looking forward to it.
As we continue to look at Otto Bolden on the right and Mike Marsh on the left, you will have to contend with a poor lane tomorrow. And in your semifinal 400, we'll ask you about that. But let's focus again on these 100-meter runners for their semifinals. Top 4 will advance to the final in the 100 coming up later today. And again, many have predicted that there will be a new standard for the 100 meters, breaking Donovan Bailey's record. Otto Bolden for one, Michael Johnson for another, predicting that possibility. Donovan Bailey's just worried about his hamstring right now. Will he be able to run? That's going to be a decision he makes when he walks out on the track for the second semifinal. There is Donovan Bailey, and again, the decision will be made just before he's set to enter the blocks after he warms up and tests the hamstring that had him grimacing with pain and later throwing his equipment in frustration after yesterday's quarterfinal round. 9.84, the mark he set in that brilliant effort in Atlanta last summer. Collecting his thoughts. Standing just in the runway to the stadium, as you can see.
Tom, he can have really two things to worry about here. His own fitness, which is probably paramount on his mind, but with the way that Otto Bolden has been running these last 2 rounds, he has to think his world record is really on the line. And I will tell you, that is something that is never ending in your brain, that your world record may be taken from you.
And Michael Johnson has said that Donovan runs best when he's the underdog, and maybe he is that. Ready again now for semifinal 1. Clean start here. Otto Bolden is away. So is Surin. Marsh was a little tardy from the block. Otto Bolden is there. So is Obadele Thompson. It's going to be Bolden getting it. The time 10 flat for Bolden as he crosses the line.
Bolden showing a little confidence at the end there with his jump. He's very confident at this point. He didn't get a great start.
Here's the finish, and we want to see if Mike Marsh is among the top 4 to move on, running with a headwind, that 10 flat, and it looks like Marsh will indeed move on to the final. Mike Marsh just nosing Surin, it looked like, for the 3rd spot. So Mike Marsh will advance to the final. And running with a slight headwind, the time was 10 flat. Marsh doesn't seem to be too happy with his performance.
Not the best start for Bolden. He normally gets a better start than that, but he's confident and knows that he can make up the ground. Looking around at about 50 meters already, and that's into a headwind and still runs thin flat.
Otto Bolden on the right and Mike Marsh in the lane just next to him. And look at Marsh. He's got some ground to make up here, but he will eventually get the third spot. Bolden all by himself out in front at this point. And there is Marsh just getting ahead of Surin for the third spot. And here's a look at Otto Bolden already looking around here. So Bolden has advanced. Will Donovan Bailey make it? We'll find out when we come back to the World Championships in Athens. Welcome back to Athens and the Track and Field World Championships. First semifinal of the men's 100 is official. Otto Bolden in a headwind, 10 flat. Davidson Azinwa second, Mike Marsh third, Bruni Surin fourth. Those will move on to the finals later tonight. Now this second semifinal heat featuring the man who is the reigning world and Olympic champion and the world record holder, Donovan Bailey, who comes to his semifinal heat hounded by questions, questions, questions. Today, the fast track in Athens will determine the identity of the world's fastest human. Donovan Bailey arrived in Athens to defend that title, accompanied by some lingering uncertainty. Hey, Donovan, we have a few questions for you.
Excuse me.
Questions about his physical condition. Before the championships, Bailey was weakened by a virus and a strained right hamstring. In yesterday's heat, the world and Olympic champion commanded his body to perform. But he was betrayed by the vulnerable hamstring. Bailey managed to advance to the semifinals, but we now must ask another question. At what cost? And there is Donovan Bailey, who will take the track for this semifinal. There was some question right up to race time. He is ready to get in the blocks, being introduced to the crowd at this point.
Well, you have to wonder. I mean, Donovan's, he's out there. He was grimacing yesterday, and the report that we got was he was more angry than it seemed like he was in pain. So, you know, maybe he worked on it last night and got his therapist to work on it. I don't know.
All right, in lane one is Nobahara Ashihara from Japan, 25 years old, the Asian record holder. Donovan Bailey is in lane two. Next to him in lane three, maybe the best U.S. hope, Maurice Green, originally from Kansas City, Kansas, now from Irvine, California. Ran his third 9.9 of the season and his career behind his training partner Otto Bolden in the quarterfinals here yesterday. And he's the 97 U.S. champion. To beat a real loaded field in Lausanne in early July may be the key race for here.
Green's feeling real confident at this point as well, but I think he's got too much pressure on him. You know, if he comes into this race, treats it like a final, makes sure that he gets on to the final later on this afternoon or later on this evening, he'll be okay. But the point right now is to get into the final, and being a young guy, he's got to keep that in his mind.
In lane four, a man that can't be ignored, Frank Fredericks of Namibia. 9.99, winning his quarterfinal, and a silver medalist in both the 100 and 200 at the last two Olympic Games, Barcelona and Atlanta. Attended college at BYU. The other American in this race in lane five is Tim Montgomery from Virginia Beach, Virginia. He won his quarterfinal in 9.99, confident, thinks he's peaking at just the right time. His debut in the 100 and International Championship competition. In lane six, Eric Nakansa of Ghana, a semifinalist at the Olympics in Atlanta last year. His best 10.10. Francis Ubakwilu of Nigeria, only 18 years old, and last year's world junior champion in the 100 and 200. And Seyon Cooper of Liberia, the Division II NCAA champion at Abilene Christian. Donovan Bailey, the focus here in lane two. Will he be able to shake off the hamstring injury? Will his world record stand when the finals are run later today?
His world record has to be the least of his worries at this point. He should be concerned about that hamstring and basically concerned with the rest of the season as well, because if it's going to tear, it's going to tear. Maurice Green beside him can't get caught up into what Donovan's doing. I know he's got Donovan on his mind, he's got Bailey on his mind, and what's going to happen if he's going to finish the race, but he has to be concerned and focused on his own race.
Top four move to the finals. Clean start. Maurice Green got away well. Frankie Fredericks. Here comes Donovan Bailey. Donovan Bailey a short lead. Maurice Green is right there. Fredericks third, then Montgomery. It'll be Green and Bailey there together. Maurice Green with 9.89. 9.89. Just 2 ticks off Otto Bolden's 9.87, the fastest qualifying time ever. And Donovan Bailey very happy with that performance. He fairly sprints off the track. And Maurice Green should be happy too. Otto Bolden and Maurice Green, the friends and training partners, will both be in the final. Here is Green, Bailey, Fredericks, and Montgomery will be the 4th qualifier from the second heat.
Olympic 100-meter chances were finished. And then he comes back to qualify for the semifinal with a very courageous performance. Can Donovan Bailey do the same? He has been battling the flu. He has been sick all week. There were some who did not think that he would even show up this morning and be able to compete in the first round. Yesterday, he told us that were the race 24 hours earlier, he would not compete. But Donovan Bailey is going to be running in lane 1.
He does not look a well man, does he?
Only once has a sprinter successfully defended the Olympic 100-meter title, and that was Carl Lewis. Have to again get into the proper mindset to get ready to go.
Exactly. So they'll try again.
All starts against the 2 outside lanes, Donovan Bailey and Konstantin Rurar. Donovan Bailey is out of it over to Ely Thompson in 10.04. Donovan Bailey halfway down the track realized he was not going to be a contender. He has been battling the flu. He has been sick. So there will be a new Olympic champion crowned in Sydney.
It is what it is, man. It's Thursday.
I told him there's no, if he runs the 100 against you and I and beats us by 70 yards.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Listen,
there's no upside.
I would have to beat you guys by 120 yards, and and that's running 100 meters.
However, you know that's possible if you've seen us.
Well, you know what? Even if I did that, if I'm going to get flack from you guys. It's true. No win situation.
Don't forget, it's probably 5 seconds before either Macau and I even react to the gun.
World champion, Olympic champion, and also the former world record holder. You were in Ostrava last time in 2001. Now it's 2011. What's the difference between Donovan Bailey now and then?
Well, I'm out of shape and I'm retired. And the difference is the last time I was here it was raining, and it's beautiful, nice and sunny today. So I'm looking forward to the competition and seeing some great things being done on the track.
You're now the legend. So can you tell us who is the biggest legend of athletics for you?
Oh, wow. The biggest legend other than myself. No, the biggest legend, you know what? The biggest legend for me are all the legends that actually, created the sport to make it a professional sport now. At one point, it was just once a year competition. Now, all the people that were instrumental in making this a career choice for athletes, those are the guys that I really respect, all of them.
We're talking about the limits of the human body. Do you think there are some?
Well, you know what? When I was competing, I thought there was a limit, but certainly Mr. Bolt and a few others have decided that they're going to push the bar a little higher. So you know what? I think your body's only limited to how far you decide that you can push it.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
I believe that the best athletes in any particular sport could also have been the best athletes in any number of other sports. It's where those great athletes gravitate in their early days. In Canada, they gravitate towards hockey.
Absolutely.
So our best athletes are playing hockey, so we're the best in hockey.
Right.
The greatest athletes in America might gravitate towards baseball, football, basketball.
Absolutely.
So they're the best at those sports.
Yes.
In Jamaica, the best athletes gravitate to track.
Absolutely.
And most specifically, short distance races.
Well, I mean, it's the glamour event. That's number one, and one of the great things about.
So I should be surprised that a little island produces so many great sprinters, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not surprised. You know what? And because, like I said, it's been there for years, and you know, I encourage people that every January, I think late January, early February, the Jamaican High School Championships. You know, it is by far
outrageous, right?
No, it's one of the greatest events you could ever go to because you actually see 12 and 13 and 14-year-old kids become stars because there is a whole stadium of 50,000 people cheering for that kid. So he actually gets used to, 1, training, 2, you know, the media, 3, the pressure of the crowd. I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, and it's these same kids that go on to do, you know, move the bar and smash the records that we see happening.
The 100-meter final at the high school championships in Jamaica must be a heck of a race.
Two-time Olympic gold medalist Donovan Bailey. Track's coming up. It's going to get a lot quicker. And the focus obviously is on Usain Bolt and his little matchup with Johan Blake. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, the Olympics is about to start. Yeah, that's how I always take it. It's going to be interesting. I think that you know, the only man in the world that knows Usain's weaknesses is his training partner, Johan Blake. You know, but it's a lot closer than a lot of people think. I truly believe that if Ossafa's not hurt, he's going to do some damage. And the 3 Americans, you really, I mean, the 3 of them all desperately want that title. But I still think that Usain is the one that is about to repeat.
You know how difficult it is to win multiple medals at one Olympic Games in the sprints. He won all 3 in Beijing. Is that a possibility again? Is he that good at this point in his career?
Well, listen, he's cemented himself as the track and field legend that actually rewrote all the, you know, every single record in the record books. And if anyone can do it, and if anyone can repeat, you know, this is, as you said, this is the most difficult thing in the world. It will be him. I think there's some injuries or there's some small nagging things that he was dealing with before. He's gotten over it. You know, you and I both be watching what's going to happen. I think that junior rounds in 100 meters will actually see what he's made of.
We saw something affect him at the World Championships in Daegu, South Korea, that we thought wouldn't, and yet it is still a factor, and that's zero tolerance false start. Your views on that, Donovan?
Well, you know what, I think the IAAF has actually adjusted, you know, the way the starts is now, so that there's more control with the starter. Hopefully, give him a little bit of leeway, because certainly everyone wants to see Usain run in Daegu. Clearly, he has to be a little bit more patient, and he has to understand that, you know what, if he twitches or anything that happens, he will be sitting in the stands and watching someone else take his title. So I'm actually looking forward to that. But you know what, I always thought that the one and done might be a little excessive, but I recognize I'm on the other side now. I'm on the media side like you, so I definitely want to see the race up and start. But certainly, I mean, I like the idea of the first false start gets charged to the field, and the next one, the competitors out.
I can't let you go without talking about the Canadians and what Glenroy might have going in the 4x100. Is there a chance for the Canadian side?
Well, listen, I mean, I left a pretty. There was a high standard in which I thought that I brought to Canadian track and field, and also, you know, brought along Glenroy, you know, in that way, and hopefully the relay squad come here and bring back a medal. I truly believe that the focus really should be on individual speed. However, I think that there's a lot of the kids in Canada. A lot of them are even more talented than I am, or that we were as a relay team. And I think that a lot of them actually should be on the Diamond League circuit. And I truly believe that's where the focus should be, so that a relay team is something that we already know going into the games is going to be a winner. And that's how we were when I competed.
Always great to see you, Donovan.
Well, thank you. Nice having me.
Why does the 100 meters captivate the imagination of the world? Why is it the focal point of the Olympics and the World Championships?
Wow, tough question. First of all, thanks for having me. I think that I've spent a lot of time in Jamaica now, and it's certainly an honor to be here to have a conversation with you and to share my story a little bit with the audience. The 100 meters, I think it's the holy grail of track and field. It's the biggest show. It's when the world stops every 4 years to see who the fastest human being on the planet is. I think that Jamaica has had a very storied history.
Your father was not excited about your pursuit of athletics. Just to broaden the conversation a bit, how important is parental validation for success?
Well, I think that it's the utmost. I actually recognize whether or not my dad supported me in sports or not. The expectation was success. So if I decided to veer off business, because after university I was a banker and had a couple of successful businesses.
So what Donovan, would you say are your greatest strengths?
I think my greatest strengths and my greatest weakness is the exact same thing. I have very little patience, and I have less tolerance than patience. So it's tough to live here is what I'm saying to you, man. I'm getting a lot of gray hairs, but yeah. Because I think that if I set my mind to something, I put the blinders on, become focused, become disciplined. If it's school, I'm going to study. I want to graduate before everyone. I actually want to get ahead of myself. I mean, if it's in business, then I do the same thing. You're around people who actually are very well studied, and also people who want to achieve something, set timelines, set goals. So I think essentially my weakness and my strength is the same thing, and the ability or the want to achieve something in a timeline that I set, and something not competing against someone, but essentially in a timeline that I set that would probably get us to that place and let us move on to something better or different.
Not like when I was there at play day when I'd always get a participation ribbon. Hey, George, thanks for showing up. Not even a finish, because I didn't finish. I'd usually barf halfway down the road. But when you win a gold, those moments seem to stay in your memory forever. Ben Johnson won a gold in 1988, mind-blowing. We all know how that turned out, but regardless, for the moment, it was mind-blowing. And for the next few years, you got the sense that the entire country wasn't really embracing that part of our legacy. Then 8 years after that, everything changed. And what's so cool about pro sports is that it's a game that's played within millimeters and inches and in just tenths of seconds, right? Everything changed for Canada in less than 10 seconds. And the guy who restored our faith and our pride was Donovan Bailey. Donovan just went into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. Donovan Bailey in a moment. Here's his bio. When I say the name Donovan Bailey, chances are this is what you think of.
Here comes Bailey, he's got it! 9.84, a world record for Donovan Bailey and a gold medal!
The 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia, 9.84 seconds at the time, the fastest legitimate 100 meters in history. And for nearly 3 years, Donovan was the world's fastest man. So how did he get there? Well, let me tell you. Donovan was born in Jamaica, came to Canada with his mom when he was about 13 years old, and settled in a place called Oakville, just outside of Toronto. Now, Donovan ran track as a teenager, but his first love was with hoops, so he played basketball in high school and in college, and he graduated with a business degree. Then, 1990, everything changed.
Donovan was watching the Canadian Track and Field Championships, and he saw people he beat back in high school. So he thought, what? I can do this. He decided to get serious about sprinting, and just 6 years later, only 6, Donovan won 2 Olympic golds in the 100 meters and the 4x100 meter relay. Of course, when you're the world's fastest man, someone's always out to try and take your title. Enter American sprinter Michael Johnson. And at the time, he was the king of the 200 meter and started saying he was the fastest. So in 1997, they decided to have the score to settle it all. The two went toe-to-toe at the SkyDome in Toronto in a 150-meter race.
I think what he should do is we should run this race over again so I can kick his ass one more time.
So in 2001, he decided to retire, got back into the business world, and started something called the Donovan Bailey Fund, which offers financial help to amateur athletes in Canada. Donovan Bailey. Good to see you, Donovan. Good to be here, man. All right. You don't strike me as the kind of guy that sits around on YouTube all day watching his old races. So what's it like to see all your old races back?
You know what? Yeah, anytime I do any charity functions or any programs, that's probably when I get a chance to watch it. I guess because it was my job, I don't really look at it as, I don't need pointers right now because I'm old and fat and retired.
You're not running anymore?
No, there's no chance of that.
But wait a second. So we all know that it's, if you were to run 100 meters today, would you do it in 10:2 or would it be like 17 seconds?
You know what? I don't know. I think that I've been asked that question a ton of times because I guess people want to know.
Yeah.
If from muscle memory alone, I would tear something and wouldn't finish the race. That's what would happen.
See, or would you fake it like Michael Johnson did?
I'm not a faker.
You're not a faker. Hall of Fame twice as an individual athlete and as a team athlete with the relay team. Is there a difference for you in either one?
Yeah, well, huge. I mean, I think that, like my career, individually, the infrastructure that my parents created was that if I was going to do something, I better get it done right, and I better be my best at it, and they stuck to that. Individually, I expected to do good things, and individually, I expected that I was going to, do good things as I did. The relay obviously takes working with a couple of guys. And with Bruni and Glenroy and Robert and Carlton and the tons of guys that's been part of our relay program, it was great for the relay team because when we got inducted to Hall of Fame, it was a special time. I know what Bruni's dreams were. I knew what Glenroy's dreams were. I knew that all the guys, the relay team essentially is a 4 individual men who want to run really fast. And when we come as a team, especially representing Canada and be champions at every level. We're the #1 team in the world for 6 years in a row.
The moment when you're 22 and you look at somebody and think, I could win a gold medal, why not?
It's funny. It wasn't. I don't think it was that clear. It wasn't that clear. I mean, I think that I was working in Toronto, and I was just burnt out. I just wanted to get away, and track and field was definitely a place.
But you weren't just working, man. You had a Porsche. You had it all laid out. I
was doing all right. But I was burnt out. I mean, I'm someone that I only have one switch. It's on or it's off. And my switch was fading. So I was getting burnt out, long hours, a lot of clients, and so I just wanted to get away. So track and field was just sort of like the elimination thing. I wanted to go and just kind of do something, exercise my brain and my body, and it kind of gravitated to that because there's something that I'd done from when I was very young, and I knew it was good, and also I knew that I met the right people at the right time too.
I think the sport itself, went through a big transition. It was funny watching Usain Bolt run. I mean, you watched him run. That was an unbelievable race. He ran all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
He ran 80 meters.
You know what? I think that in North America, we don't really get the concept of track and field or how huge it is globally. And you have to understand that how special Usain is. Usain is like 5 times Tiger Woods. Like he's one of those guys. He was born. He's 6'6", and you saw the times he ran. I mean, you're at the highest level in 3 events. And you break world records in all of them, man. Yeah. So I mean, he's one of those special kids. And every time I see him, I just one of those guys I appreciate.
But it's funny though, during the Olympics, right? The 100-meter dash was always the marquee event.
Right.
But during the Olympic Games, and it was all, and for a while, rightly so, Michael Phelps. And Michael Phelps, what he did was fantastic and fine. But you look at Usain Bolt, and I thought, wow, man, they should be walking you on water, because that was the marquee event. And this was the Olympics where I thought, why didn't the 100-meter dash get the attention that it normally would have when there was such a special athlete there?
Well, I mean, it's the same reason why the 100-meter didn't get the special attention in Atlanta. I mean, it's the same situation. Michael Phelps, American, and Mark Spitz had set the bar, obviously, for him to go and get it. No one's ever done what Usain Bolt's done, and obviously I'm quite biased where I feel that, and I'm not the only one who feels this way, when you win the 100 meters, especially if you break the world record, you're the king of the games.
Yeah.
There's no other event and no other athlete that can match that. So I think, for me, I think that Usain obviously is the king of the games, and probably should, rightfully so, should deserve the title and should get it.
And if he only looked like he tried for 80 meters, does that mean the next Olympics he's going to kill that record?
Well, you know what? There's next track season. Yeah. So I mean, I hope so. I mean, he just turned 22 in August. He's young. In the 100-meter finals in Beijing, he has the most improvement to make of all 8 athletes that were there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he can get stronger. Technically, he has to work. He has to work to get more technically sound. He has to work on the phases of his race. So it starts, acceleration. He is the one with the most work, and he just ran 69. So he has the potential to do things that are inhuman.
When you watch a guy like that, and now that you don't race, do you get an itch, thinking, man, I wish I could be out there?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that my transition period, was 1999. I mean, it was when I was retiring, and I got voted the athlete of the decade of the 90s, or sprint of the decade of the 90s. So everyone I met in my prime, I didn't step back from anybody. I challenged everyone, and I beat everyone. So I mean, that was my time then. Right now, I mean, I'm a huge fan. I mean, working for CBC in Beijing and the other networks, you kind of understand that I'm a fan.
Linford Christie in lane 1. Donovan Bailey and Christie have met head-to-head this season, beaten each other. But what a pity there are doubts about Christie's fitness. There have been 4 World Championships before. Carl Lewis won the first 3. Christie took the title in 1993 in Stuttgart. Christie in 1, Fredrickson 2, Surin in 3, Bolden in 4, Bailey in 5, Marsh in 6, Stewart in 7, Adenikin in lane 8. First time they got a good one there. Christie didn't go too badly away, but flying in the centre is Bolden, and now here comes Donovan Bailey. It's Bailey wins it, and Surin and Bolden in a photograph for second place. Think Linford Christie finished about 5th. Look at the time, 9.97. Following wind of 1 metre per second, and Christie has broken down, but he came out to defend the title. I hope he's not done himself damage for the rest of the season. Frederick's very concerned about him. Donovan Bailey, the winner, 9.97. Surin, Canada, in second place, 10.03. What a night for Canada.
Desde 1993, em Stuttgart, Donovan Bailey tem dominado o atletismo nos 100 metros rasos. Ele conquistou a medalha de ouro recentemente, há uma semana, no 5º Mundial de Atletismo em Gotemburgo, na Suécia. Sua medalha comoveu o Canadá. O tempo de 9 segundos e 97 centésimos para Donovan Bailey. O Canadá começa uma nova era com Bailey, apagando a imagem de Ben Johnson no passado.
É verdade. Sem dúvida alguma, essa imagem vai ficar na memória dos canadenses. E para o Canadá, a vingança vale ouro.
Donovan Bailey. Está ele recebendo a medalha de ouro. O homem mais veloz do mundo, Donovan Bailey.